I wanted to do this video. One of the things I've been dealing with is unconscious trauma, which I thought was some type of bizarre mental crippling. The example I'm going to use of this is when I was in middle school or something like that, maybe elementary. There was this African kid that was terrified of water, and when I was hanging out with him one time, his grandmother randomly was like, "Oh, he's afraid of water because he didn't know how to swim or anything." And and his grandmother was like, "Oh, well, he's afraid of water because the priest done drowned him in the tub when they were baptizing him. Like, they held him underwater too long, and he started freaking out when he was a kid." And this guy had no recollection of that happening. He didn't know. That's why he was terrified of water. And it led into him not learning how to swim, and I could probably go into an entire conspiracy theory that white priests used to deliberately drown black kids to make them terrified of water, but we're not even going down that rabbit hole, brother. Okay, everybody thinks I'm racist anyway, so, this, thing feeds into this church. If you guys watch the other videos about raping babies and why they rape babies, I remember this very clearly with Stu, who brought up the whole raping babies thing at Ingalls. We were casually talking about it. Well, we weren't casually. He just brought it up, and I was like, "That's a really weird thing to do." And then I suggested that childhood trauma could stop somebody from developing. That was my theory at the time. At the time, I didn't know the word emotionally stunted. I was just bitter, spiteful, angry, selfish, stupid. Something like that is what I used to call them. And Stu was like, "No, that's not what happens. They don't become stuck in the childlike state kind of stuff. But they do." My cuddle buddy, at the time, she's an evil person. Careful who you surround yourself with. I've realized I'm really good at surrounding myself with awful people. She, talked about basically finding out that she was one of the selected, which is one of the kids that are raped as a baby. And then she immediately developed the symptoms of emotionally stunted, which is unconscious. Nobody, I guess, emotionally stunted people, it's one of the hardest things to accept in life. Remember this, there's no evil people, just stupid motherfuckers, okay? Emotionally stunted people don't choose to be emotionally stunted, which is probably why they get really mad when I say I hate them and I can't stand them and I wish they would fucking die. And I will always stick to that because they have harassed me my entire fucking life. And I am tired of them. I make no qualms that if this was my world, I would just execute them, because that would be way easier than forcing them to grow up, because they're not gonna. It involves dealing with your shit and doing stuff that is just genuinely annoying. Trust me, I've been doing it for the past 2 years, dealing with shit these people gave me. They traumatized the fuck out of my unconscious mind, and I'm about to touch on that. One of the things I remember now, dealing with the blue-eyed guy, is the blue-eyed guy literally thought it was weird that he'd hit me with the LSD, hypnotize me, and I wouldn't remember the trip. I didn't remember my LSD trips, and my theory behind that was I hated emotionally stunted people so much on a conscious level that I had rejected my own unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is emotionally stunted, okay? It does not think in any rationales or anything. It only thinks in emotion. I had rejected my own mind to the point that they could traumatize it and do whatever they wanted to it, and it would not faze me. This kind of feeds into Stu hypnotizing me multiple times at Ingalls, and I didn't remember them until recently when I've been I guess, bonding with my unconscious mind and getting to understand exactly why it does what it does. It basically does what it does because it's like a hurt child with hurt emotions. I don't know if like that offends it or whatever, but it's just a genuine truth. It behaves in basically the unconscious mind is the lizard brain or animal brain, so it's in competition with everything. And that's why with this church, you having sex or you having a wife is super important to it, because it's a baboon thought process. It's how an animal thinks. I have to stop you from reproducing, and if you like a woman, I want that woman, you can't have it, kind of deals, because it's how an animal thinks. It's how a lizard thinks or a bear thinks. Think about bears in mating season and how they fight over females. That is how these people think. They're literal Darwinian baboons. And they think it's superior for some reason. But in regards to the trauma that was experienced, one of the things I said is I was terrified just to go to court. That is because I had a completely horrible experience with going to court, because I was suddenly forced into doing it and I didn't have a lawyer. These dumb bastards, this is a rich people thing, and it's a thing they do at this church. They use the court system to bully people, and then they drag them through it. And I would make this statement: you want to talk about fixing the legal system? If you feel you were dragged by a legal case, you should be able to go and just file a complaint, just write a complaint, go, I was dragged by the legal system, and then everything you were put through should be reevaluated. And you should explain that this was your first time, you didn't know what you were doing, you didn't understand a goddamn thing. And they say in the law, oh, not understanding, no. I think that there should be definite laws about not comprehending what is going on or understanding the significance of what you're doing. Okay? But whatever. Trust me, the legal system's stupid. There's a lot of ego in it, so it just doesn't admit when it's wrong, and then injustice. That's what happens when you do that. Injustice. So with the unconscious mind, the specific traumas I experienced, I think about the being held up at gunpoint, being bashed in the head by Stu, being shot at and poisoned continuously. These resulted in me being absolutely terrified of things. And, like, these things were kind of conscious. I was aware I was terrified of these things, but, like, on the other end, there was an unconscious element to them. Yeah. And I want to talk about not realizing that you have these things. When I was at Papa John's, people would do something or bring something up, and I would freak out about it, and I didn't know why. One of the things I don't even know how I didn't catch this. This dude approached me about fucking LSD, and I just freaked out and was like, I don't fucking believe, like, basically, I don't want to do no fucking LSD, and it was a complete overreaction. I didn't know why I was overreacting, because up until that point, I didn't know I had done LSD, because I've never done LSD, well, willingly. I've never done LSD willingly. These people kept dosing me with it, and my brain had figured it, my subconscious mind had figured it out. And when these people approached me about it, I freaked out about it because my brain had been dosed with it too many goddamn times. That was followed by when people kept approaching me about what happened, like me signing the perjury and shit. And I would just freak the fuck out about it. And it was my body, from continuously being poisoned with heavy metals and Blondie continuously bringing the perjury to me, my brain began associating being poisoned with heavy metals, which is traumatic, with the damn fucking paper. So I was terrified. I was becoming slowly terrified of the paper through these people's surreptitious bullshit. And this is the thing, these guys are idiots. I doubt they actually understand or even comprehend the far-reaching aspects of the shit they do. they're too stupid to understand it. They're idiots. And when you talk to them, you quickly realize they're fucking retarded. They just have, this is the little man standing on the shoulder of giants. Somebody else figured this shit out, and these idiots just replicate it. They're replicators. It's their nature, okay? There's this thing they talk about, sun and moon students. Sun students can take something and run with it. They can turn it into something themselves. They can make it into something themselves. Moon students just copy. They just copy. That's it. These people are all moon students. They just copy. They don't actually comprehend the material. They don't actually understand it, but they're really good at imitation. The trauma brain is a very bizarre thing. I'm having trouble thinking of a very specific instance where I freaked out about something that was subconscious trauma that was performed on me while I was in a semi-lucid, like, LSD state. And then I was terrified. I guess the biggest thing is in this church, you do the LSD ritual where you have sex with the anal-eaten mummy and she drops her giant rotten vagina on you. Like, fucking, that creates misogyny because you're terrified of women. You don't want a woman riding cowgirl because you think her giant rotten vagina is going to fall on you, okay? And it happens on a subconscious level. So these people are anti-woman because of the experience they have from that. And you're not going to explain that to them. They're too stupid to understand it. If you were to sit down and be like, this is why. No, it's not. And you're just going to be like, okay, idiot, go away. Like, don't waste your time if you're watching this video and trying to explain it to them. They're just really fucking dumb. This results in them having control issues, and I'm gonna say I think a big chunk of control issues, like being raped and all those things with the trauma, the trauma has to be on a subconscious level. Yeah. One of the weirder things I've noticed is my psychosis, trauma, and PTSD have seemingly, for no reason at all, vanished with the death of my ego. So I think the ego might play in a finite role in keeping track of your traumas. I don't know what's up with that, but whatever. Okay. I remember Blondie explaining to me, oh, you think you know psychology, you only know half of it because I understand the unconscious mind, because he is an unconscious mind. He thinks like a 2-year-old. And everything he does, he probably couldn't explain to you himself why on earth he wants to control my sex life. And this shit came up with even people I worked with at Papa John's who were seemingly interested in controlling my sex life. And this is because of how the church works. They're all mindless fucking monkeys that are controlled by the church and told what to do, okay? And this is why it's baboon brain. They think like fucking baboons, and they, for some reason, want to be respected like fully functioning human beings when they're subpar at best. Like, if it was me, they would be relegated to Utah, where they love being, just force them all in there and go, you guys can behave like baboons. Here, fight over your own dumb bitches. And just fucking throw all their own women out there. They just beat each other up like the idiots they are until there's one guy having sex and everybody else is just being beaten and raped all the time by some violent, stupid son of a bitch, because that's what these people want. They want to get rid of society, they want to get rid of the rules, and they want to go back to, I guess, living in the woods where everything was just done through violence. Like, and they probably themselves don't even understand that about themselves with how they think. You probably couldn't sit down and explain it to them either, because they probably wouldn't accept it very much. I'm not a baboon, I'm a civilized person that thinks like a baboon. Like, great. I didn't recognize this kind of shit at all when I was learning about this. And the unconscious mind was something that never really appealed to me, learning psychology. But now I realize there's a huge part and role in trauma and adaptation and even, I guess, neurotic behaviors. I guess very specifically neurotic behaviors. are all associated with these kind of things. Okay? Yeah. I guess if you have some unconscious trauma that you don't know about, it might be the reason why you're doing the dumb things you're doing, and you should probably just kind of address it and then work through it. I'm working through it. I think for me personally, and I guess this is a personal note, I'm kind of at that point in life like Prince Zuko when he uses all the hatred and rage to use his fire. And that's been taken from me through the death of my ego, and now I need to find some other motivation to do stuff. Like, I was really driven. I was going down to the county courthouse. I was trying to talk to lawyers. They're fucking useless. I was doing all these things, and now I'm just completely dead, and I don't really feel motivated to try or do anything. And I just kind of like, I know I should. I just don't. I don't have the motivation. I don't. Yeah, it's whatever. Whatever the unconscious or conscious awakening I'm experiencing, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, just that.